when you look at the commonality of the students of the circle of life and the customers of Body Align, consciousness is very important to this group.
Absolutely.
And the numbing of like COX-1s and COX-2 inhibitors, and not only what it does to in a sense put the central nervous system asleep, basically.
Exactly.
And it's the opposite of a conscious person, what we really want to happen, right, Steve? So this is why this is really, to me, incredible, because you can dial down the pain and the person is still expanding their consciousness, because it's really hard to move and stay in 5D if I'm taking a bunch of ibuprofen, right?
Your body's certainly not going to be moving in that direction. You've now numbed it down. Now, the good news is you're out of pain. So there is a consciousness. Maybe you can elevate to that the ibuprofen happened, but the rest of your body is going to be lagging. Right. I've always said, if your body detoxes, you got to take something every 4 hours to get the desired effect. Right. Your body treats it as a toxin and is trying to get rid of it. Right. You just overpowered the system. You know, broccoli is not something your body wants to get rid of. It's not there's no half-life where it's trying to chew it up and the benefits that we get out of broccoli. But certainly ibuprofen and any of the NSAIDs that we use just for simple pain over the counter, they're certainly not good for the body. They might be necessary for your pain management. And I'm telling you, folks, please be out of pain. Try my product. It works fantastic. I don't want to hear about you in pain. That's not what God intends. Right. But I think if we can find a solution that's non-chemical based, you can have best of all the worlds, right? You can have a high level of consciousness, a high level of vibration, and minimal amount of pain, where the rest of your body, if you can walk down the street and say hi to the neighbors and you can feel good, you bring a positive energy, your frequency starts to bound up and you become much more limitless, right? You become much more capable of dealing with it. And I think it's a cycle that spirals up.
Well, I put literally the pain patch to what I considered one of the biggest tests last weekend, where I took all of my family, my grandkids, and we went to Disney World for 4 days.
Now that won't irritate you.
And one day we went to Epcot, which is twice the size, as you know, of the Magic Kingdom. And we're in the back, we're watching the fireworks, and I've been on this hip already for 10 hours that day. And you've got to walk from the back of the World Showcase to up front, where we take the monorail to exchange with the monorail, because we were staying at the Contemporary in the Magic Kingdom. Now, if that wasn't a test, Steve, I don't know what was, because here this 65-year-old Lama, who the doctor's been saying, you're bone on bone for 10 years. How are you doing this, right? And I walked, I know it was at least 5 or 6 miles. I walked 5-6 miles at the end of the night. Sometimes I had to walk slow. Well, Tai Chi guy will do that sometimes. And in the process, I got on the monorail, which normally what would bother my hip the most is in that sitting position where it pushes against the front of the hip, right? And I still remembered, I would touch, I said, do you got this patch on? And I literally sometimes would grab to see, do you still have this thing? And because, all my life, I know all about placebo and all that kind of stuff, because I know. But I got to tell you, it was actually yesterday morning, because I now have this patch on second day. I had taken the shower and I started to feel that soreness, and I dried that part of the hip really thoroughly, Steve. And then I placed that patch and I watched my clock. It was 33 seconds, Steve. 33 seconds, and the pain just went, and it was going. The next thing that was, what pain, Rasaji? What are you talking about? As if I'd never had it before. And all I feel is very similar to what you feel if you go to a decent acupuncture. A lot of people that's never been, a lot of times are scared of needles, right? So they'll ask me, Lama Rasaji, do you feel the needle? I say, no, you feel this tiny little pressure like somebody's poking you with a finger just to let you know something's going on there. That's all I feel now with my hip. I feel like an acupuncturist walking around with his finger lightly touching my hip, which is a lot better than feeling like you got a knife in your hip. I'll tell you for sure, Steve.
You know, Master Lama, we look at the world today, and I have to believe that that there's a lot of information available to us when we look at the aggregate, the highest level. 2/3 of the world's population treats their wellness, would treat hip pain, would treat shoulder pain outside of chemicals. Okay.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing.
The Native Americans use the bark of a willow tree to do it. We are so caught up now in synthesized chemical approach that we can't even see that there's a different way to feel better, right? Everything's not a perfect healing. And I'm not talking about healing. I'm talking about just dealing with what it is of being human, right? Our wellness much more than the healing and disease that we might have. So this doesn't cure anybody, but 2/3 of the world's population isn't dumb. Okay. 2/3 of the world's population says, I'd rather see my energy medicine, whether it's my acupuncturist, my naturopath, my shaman, or my witch doctor, right? The folks that use energy to diagnose and to provide energies back to make them feel better. So, Master Lama, I don't claim to be smarter than anybody. All I can tell you is I just believe in the masses, that the number of people that use energy, been doing it for 5,000 years, right? Those number of people are by far stronger than what I can provide is just go to the drugstore and get some chemicals and keep popping them in and have to have my liver tested every year to make sure I haven't destroyed it.